Welcome to the video tutorial distance learning students on how to use Interlibrary Loan. Interlibrary Loan, or ILL, is a service provided to students to allow them to get access to items that UCA Library does not own, which we borrow from other libraries. We set up reciprocal borrowing agreements with libraries across the state, across the nation, and worldwide. This allows us to share items back and forth between libraries so that each library can meet specific needs that their users might have that their collection may not be able to meet. ILL is not an instantaneous process. It does take about 2 to 5 business days for turnaround time, depending on what type of item you are requesting. Additionally, for our distance learning students, Interlibrary Loan is how we fulfill their requests to get access to our print content that we have on the shelves here in the library. Distance learning students may request any article that we have in print in the library and chapters from any print book that we have. Our ILL office will scan this information, any print content that we may have, and create a PDF that will then be sent to the student upon request to fulfill their request. Please keep in mind that we cannot scan and send an entire book to a student, as this would be a violation of copyright. To begin the process of either requesting something that the library does not own through one of our databases, or to request something be scanned and sent to you that the library has in print, we will start on the library's homepage and click on the link for Interlibrary Loan. This will take us to the ILL homepage, which is where you will have your first encounter with ILLiad. ILLiad is the software that we use to process and deliver our ILL requests. You will need to set up an account in order to use ILLiad through the UCA library. Once you have an account, you can easily log in using the boxes available in the center of the page here. To get us set up as a first-time user, we're going to click the Register link down at the bottom of the page. And this will provide us with some basic first-time user information about registering for Interlibrary Loan. You will need to select a username and password. This will be a unique username and password for you. You're welcome to make it the same thing as some other usernames and passwords that you may have, but you do have to set this up separately to be able to use ILLiad through the UCA library. So we're going to click on the bottom for first-time users. This will take us to our registration screen where we basically need your contact information. This is really similar to any other account that you might set up, like an email or something like that. So we'll fill out this form. So once you have all of your basic contact information entered, you'll then be asked to choose a status, and it's really important at this point that you as a distance learning student select Distance Ed as your status. This separates you from the rest of our users and tells us that we should scan any print items that you request, make it a PDF, and send it to you. Next, select your department, whatever your major may be. And finally, select whatever username and password that you want to use. Click Submit down at the bottom of the page, and it will automatically log you in to your new ILLiad account. Once you're in your ILLiad account, you'll be able to see any outstanding requests that you may have in the middle of the page. And then to make a request for a new item, simply select under New Request whichever option meets the needs that you currently have, either article, book, book chapter, audiovisual, or thesis. The majority of our students usually only use the article, book, or book chapter option, though there are different forms for each one because of the bibliographic citation information that is required to make the request so that we can find the item that you are looking for. If you have a citation for an article, either that the library does not have access to at all in a database or in print, or if you know something that we do have in print, you can use the same form It doesn't really to you, the end user. The only difference between those two options is how our interlibrary loan department will process your request, whether we go out to borrow it from another library or whether we find it on our shelves and scan it and send it to you. Either way, you, the end user, will still get the PDF easily available for you. So at this point, you have an article request form to fill out. You will need the citation information of author, year of publication, title of the article, title of the journal, volume, issue, page numbers, pretty much everything that you would find in the bibliography or works cited section. So we'll go ahead and fill this request form out for an article about wild pandas from National Geographic. All of the fields marked with a red asterisk are required, and we encourage you to provide as much information in as many fields as possible because that makes it easier for us to locate the article, which makes it quicker, which means you get the article that much faster. You can put any specific notes or questions or thoughts that you may have in the notes field down here near the bottom. And then once you've completed all of this form, simply hit Submit Request. This will take us back to the ILLiad homepage, and now you can see right up here in the middle of the page we have one outstanding request from National Geographic, and we can see that our status says we are awaiting copyright clearance. You can check back here to look at your outstanding requests and see what your status becomes as it changes right up until the point when you actually receive the article. When your article is ready for you, you will receive an email from our interlibrary loan department telling you to log into ILLiad, and once you have done that, come over here on the left hand side to View and click on Electronically Received Articles, and you will be able to see the articles that have been delivered to you. Click on the little View button with the PDF icon. This will open up the article. The first page is always our interlibrary loan cover sheet that just kind of tells you a little bit about copyright issues and things like that. And then as you scroll down, the next page will be the first page of your article. You can read through the full text of your entire article. This PDF is yours to do with what you want, to either save or print. But if we go back to our Received Articles homepage, notice that the file will only stay in this Electronically Received Articles holding area for 30 days from the original date of posting. After 30 days, the PDF will disappear to maintain copyright compliance. Remember that you do have the PDF when it's delivered, so you can save it or print it to have for future reference. Requesting a book from another library is very similar to this process. You would simply select the book option on the left and fill out the same page or fill out the same form in much the same way as we just did for this article. However, if you want a copy of a book chapter that we have in print in our collection physically here in Torreyson Library, under New Request you would come over and select Book Chapter, and you will be presented with a similar form that asks for some sort of different information that you will be asked to fill out. Now, how do you find this information, and how do we know what books are available for us to request chapters from? That's a great question. We're going to flip back over to the library's homepage, find a book in our catalog, and then request a chapter out of that book. So I'm going to open up a new tab. We're going to start back at the library's homepage, uca.edu/library, click on Find Books. We're going to do a keyword search in our catalog, which shows us all of our print books. We're going to search for copyright, distance learning, hit search. Once we have a list of results, we can click on a title that we like, such as Copyright Catechism 2. You can tell that this is a print book physically in our collection by the blue book icon located on the left-hand side of the page. When you find the item you like, click on the This will take us to the item record with the majority of our bibliographic information that we're going to need to fill out that ILLiad form available right up at the top of the page. And then to know which chapter we want to select, come down and look under Contents. And you can see the different chapters. This is basically just listing the table of contents that's available in this particular book. So let's say this is a 166-page book. We probably don't need to read the entire thing cover to cover, but maybe you do want content from the chapter about internet and distance learning. This is Chapter 7 in this particular publication. So we have Chapter 7, Internet and Distance Learning, plus the author, the title of the book, where it was published, when it was published, all of that information comes from the top of the page. So now we have everything we need to fill out the Iliad book chapter request. So I'm going to flip back to that page and fill out the information that it requires. Remember to give us as much information as you can, as this will speed up the process of getting your item to you. We'll continue to scroll down the page, filling out as much information as we have available. And remember, pretty much all of this information can be found in the catalog on that item record page for the particular book you are interested in. We will click Submit once we've input all of this information. And now I can see that I have 2 items that are out, and I can track their progress through the status updates on the right-hand side. Again, I can come back over on the left-hand side and click on Electronically Received Articles to view what I have. And there are some other tools that will allow you to change or update your user information, password, things like that. Again, please remember that interlibrary loan for our distance learning students provides 2 functions. The first is to get copies of print items that we have here in the library. The Interlibrary Loan Office will scan them in for you and send you the PDF of a book chapter or of a particular article that we may have still in print. That function of interlibrary loan is unique to our distance learning students. All students at UCA can request articles and books that are not owned by UCA through interlibrary loan as well. Iliad is the software that we use to process interlibrary loan requests, and you do have to set up an account to use that. If you have any questions about Iliad or interlibrary loan, please call the ILL office at 501-450-5205.